Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Good evening and welcome to Give Me a Break. I'm Jonathan Carmody. And oh my goodness is right. New York has a report out that says bullying and drug use are on the rise in these New York City school districts. Take a look. Take a look at this video.
A new report from the state controller's office shows incidents of bullying and drug use are on the rise in schools across New York State.
Yeah, and just last night we reported a call to action from members of the Warsaw community following an incident involving a student on the high school boys basketball team there in Wayne County. Natalie Kuchko joins us with more on the state's finding. Hi, Natalie.
Teresa, Adam, the state says rates of bullying and drug use in schools across the state now exceed pre-pandemic levels. While those have increased, the number of what's being defined as serious, violent, and disruptive cases has dropped. The data focuses on reporting from all school districts during school hours or school events. The data runs from 2017 through 2024, does not include last year's information. Numbers are broken down by region for New York City, upstate and downstate schools, and show drug-related incidents are higher at upstate schools compared to other regions. The report says bullying also accounts for over 60% of all cases reported. One attorney we heard from says there are trends showing the frequency of reporting has changed over the years.
It doesn't mean necessarily that there's more bullying. I think that now schools are required to respond in a way that they weren't before. And I think it's giving parents the ability to do something, whereas before they didn't have that access to the school. It doesn't mean that schools are dangerous, and it doesn't mean that kids are in any danger. I just think that the reporting and the ability to do something about it is that much better now.
Meantime, this new report shows rates of cyberbullying are low all across the state, but indicates those cases may often go unreported as they are difficult to detect. We will have a link to the full study over on our website, rochesterfirst.com.
I think we have a... There is the link. There's a study. Look at this. A 31-page study by the New York State by this. This review of the climate data. All this is a recent review. Since 2000, New York State schools have been required to develop and implement school safety plans. And since 2001, the State Education Department has monitored school safety in part by collecting self-reported school-level data from districts, charter schools, and boards of cooperative educational services on violent and disruptive incidents in public schools. Then, in 2019, the Office of New York State Comptroller published a report analyzing the first year data from the New York State Department School of Safety and Educational Climate, which was implemented in school year. It builds on that work by looking at the trends in violent incidents, drawing on 7 years of the data now available. It's presented by the report, which focuses primarily on the statewide and regional rates of certain violent and disruptive incident categories. I mean, look at this figure right here. This is the figure from 2000. From 2000, the SAFE Act enacted as a statewide uniform violent and disruptive reporting system, or VADR. It begins 2001-2002. In 2010, the DASA was signed into law. Separate data collection on bullying mandated by DASA began in addition to VADR. In 2013-2014, cyberbullying is added to the report. Then, years later, the data begins, and a number of categories is reduced. Then we go into 3 years. We go to years from now. It narrows the definitions of the serious incident categories and a new category for school threats other than a bomb threat or false alarm added. I mean, this is the list in these categories: homicide, forceful sexual offenses, other sexual offenses, assault with serious physical injury, assault with physical injury. weapons possession, material incidents, cyberbullying, bomb threat, false alarm, use possession to sell drugs, use possession of alcohol. This is the full 30, all these 31 pages. Look at this second figure right here. Here's the graph of the disruptive rates per 1,000 students in secondary schools from 2017 to 2024. 2017, the line, all these lines go down. And then in the 2024, and then from 2020 to 2024, the line goes flat. Weapons possession, down, flat, up here. Sexual offenses, down. The flattest one ever is the sexual offenses. But the ones that go up is the weapons possession right here. Because, you know, there's kids out there who just bring toy guns in and they want to show them off to the kids. I mean, these figures all just say, you know, what's going on in our schools with disruption in our classes. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break. When we return, more about this report from Figure 3. Still to come, Project Baltimore and the superintendent who was arrested after that Project Baltimore story that aired about him claiming that a green-dressed woman stole school property from the hotel. Stay with us. Back now with the New York City District report about what's going on with bullying. And this is the whole figure right here. The third figure is serious violent and disruptive incident rates per 1,000 students. This is the same year. So here's the Figure 3 graph that you'll see right now. The downstate and the upstate is the red and green. The green's the upstate, the downstate is the green, the black is in New York City. So, let's look at the black ones. 7.0, it goes down in 2020. 3 years from now, 3 years, it goes to 2020. But then it went up to 0.7, then down 2, and then another 2 during the 2022, 2023, 2022 to 2024. The greens, the upstate, down, and then a little flat up here. New York. Here, the red ones, the flattest one ever has got to be the greens and the reds from here. So it's like you're going up. That's the assault cases. Now the sexual offense cases, it went up to 2.7 in 2017, 2018, sorry. Then it went down by 2.5. These answers reported. Then a year later, 1.7. Then it went down. This right here is the good thing about these sexual offenses. But then we get to the weapons possession. And all these include these charter schools. So let's take a look at the weapons possession. Here's this graph. Which you can see right here. 27, this is right here. 4.6, and it goes down to 3. 3.5, half here, and it goes up. And then it went flat during that year. 0.9. That's the highest ever. And in the green, down, right in the middle, during the 2020-21 school year during that pandemic. Then, a year after, up. And then, there it went flat. So, New York, 4.6. It went down to half. Then went 0.3, 1.1, and then back to 0.9. This is all from that thing. So let's look at the drugs and alcohol into this situation here. The fourth figure is the whole drugs and alcohol incident. So here is the alcohol. This line goes down, and then it goes up and loses 1 point. That's the alcohol part. The drugs are very high here. I mean, take a look at this. From 2017, we got 4.2. Then it went up 4. Then it went up 7. Then it went down 6. Then it went down a bunch to that flatline during the pandemic. You have to remember 2020, 2021. This was all during that COVID-19 pandemic. So when it goes down here, that's in the flat zone. Let me zoom it in for you so you guys can see it. That is the whole thing. That zero right there, that's in the middle. But the drugs, whoa, it went up. It went up back during the 2021-2022 school year. 2022-2023, 0.2. Then it went down to 6.5. What does that tell you? We already got the alcohol lowered. The drugs need to be flat. We want that graph to be, what the line to be lower. Now for these drug-related incidents, the upstate, downstate, New York. So, here, we go in the middle here with this, because this was during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this one before that day. And then it went up. The green went up to upstate, 9.8. The highest one ever for upstate was 10.3. Of all this right here. And then the same and downside. Flat on, these two were flat. And then it went down from New York City. 4.2. Now here's a six figure about this. This is the cyberbullying part. This here is the cyberbullying part of the story. So figure 6 would show bullying incident rates per 1,000 students. During the pandemic years, reported incidents of bullying declined for 2020. Perhaps impacted by schools switching to remote learning in the spring of the school year and declining even further when remote learning was implemented. All of this was figure 6. So 4.3, the highest one ever is 18.2. The bullying rates grew from 10.2 to 18.2 in these statewide incidents. Now, going back to figure 7, New York goes higher while upstate and downstate go on the flat side. Even the charter schools would even laugh about this. Figure 8, cyberbullying. The same thing for New York City and upstate. Here's the highest one ever. The highest one ever, 5.6, is from New York City. That's the fucking highest right here. What the hell will happen? And now here's a chart. The non-charter ones. This is the 9th figure. The percentage of schools reporting no violent disturbance incidents during the years 2017 through 2024. I mean, New York City, rest of state, total. Highest one is 33.5%, 38.7 for elementary, 28.0. Rest of state, 24.8. Highest one ever is 37.7, 37.1, 37.1 in elementary and secondary. That's the whole total, is 44%. Charter schools, highest one, 87.9% of reported ones. Rest of state, 63.3. Elementary, 94. Secondary, elementary. All this was higher. It's the reporting. Now here's this graph right here. Here's the highest one ever from state, right? Rest of state, 2020, 50.6. 2021. And from New York City, that was the lowest. For the rest of all the state, these go unreported. Here's the figure 11 here. Here's the highest one ever. New York City, 87.9%. What does that tell you? We'll give you the rest of the answer next. Tonight we're dealing with cases of bullying that happened in New York City from a report that was released from New York City. Here's the highest one ever, 87.9% from 2020 to 2021. This is all statewide. Figure 12. 1/3, 34.9% of all public schools, including charter schools, reported zero bullying or cyberbullying. Nearly 1 in 5 public secondary schools, 17.8. Nearly half of all public elementary schools reported zero bullying. I mean, the schools report all this to their state Department of Education, and they can believe them. It's like there's bullying incidents, and then they don't report them. So you know what? They get more money. Congratulations. We get a free pizza party. You have to be honest with them and say, look, we've been falsely reporting about, we've been falsely reporting, and it would have been taken care of. I mean, look at the highest one ever from New York City. Look at the whole total, 37. That's the whole total. And going back here, all schools, 58.4 is the highest one ever for the high schoolers. 90 for New York City. 65 for the rest of the state. Elementary. 95 for elementary. Look at this. What does this tell you? Charter schools are less likely to report bullying. And everybody has their own excuses for reporting the cyberbullying incident because it is unproven. 2 buttons on your phone can make you take a screenshot of the thing. You can report it, and bada boom, it will be done. You know, the number one thing you gotta do is unplug. If you're getting bullied, if you're being signed on those sites and you just unplug that, you just drop it and it won't hit you. Now, does that mean not get a teacher in school? No, but you've at least stopped that. And we've got to tell all these kids, like I've been saying, that telling is not tattling. If you're being bullied on the internet, if you're being bullied on the internet or being bullied in any way, going and telling on someone in authority is not tattling. Because we all heard, oh, nobody likes a tattletale. Well, telling somebody that you're being bullied and you're being victimized is not tattling. You need to reach out and get help. This is not something where people say kids will be kids. You know, I've watched many times, I watched that 48-hour special about bullying. And believe me, the words can kill. And you know, it's the kids who just don't do the tattling. The counselors, on the other hand, say, okay, if you see someone being teased, go tell a teacher. They don't do it. And so, you know, every school district, if you ask every school district if they have a bullying problem and they tour the school, they'll straight up tell you in the face saying, we don't have a bullying problem, we don't want to talk about it. And if they did want to talk about it, then they tell you outside. Now, here's another thing. This is from the newsobserver.com. Their question is, do students who record video to expose bullying need whistleblower protection? What I want you to do is to listen to this article.
Do students who record video to expose bullying need whistleblower protection? Videos recorded by students have helped expose bullying as well as glorify school fights. North Carolina law requires students to turn off their phones during instructional time to try to reduce outside distractions. Now the Wake County school system is considering whether it can create whistleblower protection that would permit students to turn on their phones to record video for safety reasons such as responding to bullying. It's a balancing act for school leaders who are concerned about how some students promote a fight culture by posting videos of fights at schools. What we're talking about is avoiding the fight culture but not taking away a kid's ability to document a problem, Wake County Superintendent Robert Taylor told the school board's policy committee on Tuesday. Phones must be off in class. A state law that went into effect in January requires students to have their phones turned off in class unless they get a teacher's permission to use them or have a valid medical or educational exemption. Enforcement is left up to the schools. In Wake County, elementary and middle school students aren't allowed to use their phones at all during the school day. but high schools can allow students to use their phones when they're not in class, such as during lunch and in the hallways between class changes. When there is an incident at school and students get their phones out and they start recording, are they in violation of policy at that point? Asked school board member Lynn Edmonds, who chairs Wake's policy committee. Avoiding creating a fight culture at schools. Both locally and nationally, students have rushed to post school fight videos on social media. Incidents that have gone viral over the years in North Carolina schools include: students at Southeast Raleigh High School posted video of the fatal 2023 stabbing of a student during a fight on campus. Wake recently agreed to pay the family of the slain student $800,000. Students at Parkland High School in Winston-Salem posted video in 2024 of a student slapping a teacher in class. The student was charged with assaulting the teacher. Students at Rollsville High School posted a video in 2017 of the school resource officer slamming a student to the ground while responding to a fight. The officer later resigned. Students at Rollsville High posted a video in 2019 of the principal and school resource officer being knocked to the floor while trying to break up a fight in the cafeteria. The fight culture is a problem for sure, Edmonds said during this week's policy committee meeting. Video recorded for protection against bullying. But there have been cases of students recording incidents to prove they're being bullied. The school board has also used video and photos from students' phones as evidence during disciplinary hearings. School board member Chris Hegarty cited the example of how some parents had complained that a coach was verbally abusing athletes. Hegarty said the principal didn't act until the parents produced a video of the coach's behavior. From the parents' point of view, access to that video was really important to resolve the issue, Hegarty said. Hegarty asked staff if there was any language that could create some sort of whistleblower protection or exemption from discipline for a student who turns on their phone to record an incident to protect themselves. At the same time, Hegarty said this kind of loophole could create other problems. If capturing an incident of violence is an acceptable use for turning on your phone, does that get us right back to the situation we talked about before where there's a fight? Hegarty said. There's a ring of students. They're all on their phone. First responders, SRO, or staff can't get to it because of all the students recording it. Potential additions to school policy. Taylor, the superintendent, said principals already can use their professional judgment to determine whether it was appropriate for a student to record video. They have a professional ability to say a student was being bullied in the bathroom and somebody recorded it versus a fight in the lobby and hundreds of students run up, Taylor said. Professionally, a principal has the license to make that judgment call. But Taylor told board members they can look at what additional language can be added to policy to spell it out. What we can do is just think about suggestions to the policy, a language that might be added to address what we know is the fight culture versus a student documenting for some other purpose, Taylor said.
We hope you enjoyed that. Here's another related audio.
Okay, you know why all these kids, this is what people do. You got him, Mikey. Keep swinging, dog. Head him there, get him. World star. Views and money. Make a YouTube channel. Record fights that happen. Post them on YouTube. Get millions of views. You'll get some fucking money from YouTube. You gotta pay some taxes on that, bitch. And you know, school laws don't, these state laws and these school state laws don't even work. Governor, we talked about the cell phone bill that Governor Greg Abbott signed back in August of 2025. It was to prevent distraction in the schools. Well, a lot of parents were angry about this. They started they were like, okay, what's going to happen? Am I going to turn on the news while I'm at work? What about calling their parents and letting them know they're safe? Or what if there's an emergency? If there's an emergency, you got to let the school know. And they'll take care of it. Not for fights. They see a fight happen, they get out their phone, post to social media. And then it's like, they can't break it up because, oh, I don't want to be on video. I want to be on video. Hey, turn off the camera, turn off the camera. Bring it up, turn off the camera. Oh. That would have been fun. Bring it up. Turn turn off the camera. Turn off the camera. I do not want to be. Oh my God. You get the picture here. All these fights are happening in the hallways, in the classrooms, in the bathrooms. You know, we know there's a bunch of bad things going on in these schools. There's gang activity, there's drug activity, there's bullying. You have to make sure those kids get pulled out, you know. Parents are telling their kids that if you see someone do something, you know. You know what people do? Like we said, get out your camera, make a video, post it on social media, you get millions of views. And what does the school do? They probably just don't care, or they'll tell them to leave, or he or she will get detention. You can't record on school property, like, you know. In some cases, when YouTubers, they can record outside of school. Okay, you can't film on school property. In some cases, where this ever happens again, the superintendent gets involved, they're going to have a meeting. You have to be able to say that, you know, you can't allow this to happen. I mean, schools have got to crack down on this, you know. You can record these fights and send them to us, but you can't post them on social media. Because because, you know, people just want to make the school look bad and say they have a bullying problem. You know, schools have the Flower School District on their website. I'm going to show this to you right now because, you know, not many people know about this. You go to Flower Bluff High, you go to a Flower Bluff School District, and you know what they tell you? They say, hey, if your child's ever bullied, go to our website and we'll help end. Go to our website and click on the report a bully page, and we'll deal with it. Half the time, they don't care. They just don't get it. You know what they do? They just don't care. And not many people cared. So just go to the website. You can report this to your school, and they will take care of it. If you don't feel like they're taking care of it, I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, you've got to be able to say, hey, you know, there's something going on. So the thing you gotta understand here is this, you know, if you're being bullied, you talk to somebody. They're gonna help you out here. And maybe then you will not be in a pickle. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, a very shocking story that would even leave you speechless. On our season premiere, we focused in on college hazing and why I hate it happening. It's why I created a Facebook group called Stop End the Silence on College Hazing. If you remember of college hazing, you guys are welcome to share your stories about when you were being hazed. We've heard dozens of stories of people who have been hazed, who have been murdered. But this one right here ended up in a fire alarm and in a basement. It all happened with the fire alarm when police heard the fire alarm. What happened next leaves everybody speechless. Here's Stephen Fabian.
Police and firefighters responding to a routine fire alarm walk down a basement staircase. What they find looks straight out of a horror movie.
Who's in charge?
56 college students, most of them shirtless and blindfolded, are standing there in the dark. They are all fraternity pledges, and this filthy area is where they sleep.
Is anyone in here that needs medical attention? Is anyone here that is against their will?
Is there anyone with any sort of physical injury?
This student in the University of Iowa sweatshirt keeps interrupting the officers.
I don't know why you're being so difficult.
I'm not.
You are.
You guys can leave, how about that?
And he has a smart aleck answer when asked if that's blood on one of the pledges.
Is it blood? That's what I'm asking. Want to taste it? No. Okay.
The student, Joseph Guyup, was charged with interference with official acts. His lawyer says the charges were later dropped.
This was something that obviously it's a little bit embarrassing, and now that it has gone viral, he really wants to just move on with his life.
The alleged hazing incident took place in 2024, but the video is only coming out now. The university says it has suspended the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity for the next 4 years.
Is anyone here that is against their will?
The fraternity's national office tells us they investigated and the individuals responsible were removed from membership.
We've also heard stories. I mean, this is when we first started 3 years ago. When we first talked about hazing in our season premiere, we talked about this. I hate when this happens. Nobody does a damn thing. But here's something you got to understand here. It is unacceptable. Very unacceptable. It's very unacceptable when you do something like this because, you can really hurt somebody and get them murdered. It's just a form of hazing. It's just another form of bullying. That's just the way things go. People ain't taken. I don't care. No more hazing, period. That's common sense for you. Here's what we have for you. We have a very special Give Me a Break Saturday. We're going to do something very new here. We have a special Give Me a Break Saturday, which we're going to be talking about. We're going to be doing something called the Give Me a Break timeline. And on that timeline, we're going to do a timeline about the history of Barney the dinosaur. If you don't know who he is a kid's show where people use their imaginations on stuff. Thanks to a YouTuber who's found footages, we're going to show you step by step, bit by bit, every single last shred of years ahead during his time. And even from YouTubers who even found the pieces to the puzzle. From movies, TV shows, and merchandises. There's one YouTuber by the name of Barney Desk who says he's found the answer and he knows about that timeline. So, the Barney timeline, a Give Me a Break special. That's a very special Give Me a Break Saturday is coming up. So, with this in mind, that's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Friday. A reminder, we'll see you again for a very special Give Me a Break Saturday, the Barney timeline. For all of us here at YouTube at Give Me a Break, stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Now and always, I'm here for you. Take care of yourself and each other. And stay safe out there. I'll see you for a special Give Me a Break. Bye-bye.